Hey guys, I know, it's been a good long while. Let me just say, a lot has happened. First, as you can tell by the title, this is not a PVZ2 video, this is a Roblox Doors videos. Now, for those who are uninterested in hearing me talk and explain about what's going on and the delay in video uploading, a timestamp should appear on screen to cut straight to the gameplay. Now, as I said, a lot has happened. It's been a while, so I may misremember the timeline of things, but it doesn't really matter. First, I went on a short vacation with my family, so I didn't get the chance to record or even play PVZ2 to continue the challenge. Not that big of a deal, right? There was also the fact that the last video barely got any views, so I wasn't sure if I should continue. I'm not exactly bothered by the views, I just don't want to end up spending a lot of time editing and recording just to not have many people enjoy it like before. Then came the real nail in the coffin. My account got deleted. I'm not exactly sure what happened or why, but I just logged in one day and to try and continue the challenge, and the game just tells me I need to download something. I don't remember if it was an update or just regular content, but I clicked download now, and once it finished downloading, I came to see the trailer for the gameplay, and it started me off on the tutorial levels. It really sucked. I tried contacting customer service from EA to see if they can help. I looked through different forums and posts to see if anyone had the same experience and if they fixed it. No such luck. I couldn't get the account back without a specific player ID number linked to the account, so I gave it up. I had recently gotten a new device to play on. Not that it matters anymore, but hey, it would have been nice to be able to continue the challenge on a bigger screen. I was regretting never taking the time to just link an email that had an account under EA in order to just log in that way. And that's when I realized what I could do. See, the reason I never linked an account was because I wanted to eventually hack the game and link my account to the hacked one. So that's what I did. It took some time, but I found a hack that worked. It gave me access to almost all the plants and kept them all at level 1. Absolutely perfect. The only downside was I still had to play from World 1 level 1. So yes, I do have an account to play on again, and I have the magnifying glass. And I have more than enough gems and coins to upgrade everything to the level I already had it on. I still have to play up until the levels I got to, which is around day 7 in Lost City. At this point, I basically lost interest in Plants vs Zombies 2. Shagra has already uploaded his hour-long movie of his experience, and it's already been a month since I last recorded a level. But don't worry, I'm slowly but surely making my way through the days and levels in order to get where I am. Just don't expect the next part anytime soon. But I will make it. Now, with all that said and done, on to the real point of this video. The first run is boring, to say the least. I'm not exactly sure what caused it to end. It could have been the internet, or I died to one of the creatures, but I can't seem to find the footage. It just ends right after I finish the second seek chase. Nothing special happened really during this run. The modifiers I used during the run were El Goblino was here, out of stuff, locked and loaded, I'm running here, wrong number, and nosy. In total, what happened was I survived Rush, Eyes, and Dupe a bunch of times, beat the first Seek chase, then beat Figure, dapped up my boy Goblino, Bob, and Jeff, survived Rush, Dupe, and Eyes again, beat Seek again, and it ends there. So, on to run 2. I recruited one of my friends who was fairly new but good at the game. I figured 2 people were better than 1, especially for door 50 and 100, but also for another slight issue. The way I was recording my screen doesn't allow me to hear the audio coming from the game. The audio is in the recording, but I can't hear it in real time. So my friend was there to warn me of rush or ambush or anything really. Same modifiers again, same strategy again, but this time there's an actual visible death. I died to some stupid bug. Typically, when you do halts with multiple players, the first player who makes it out just teleports the rest out of the hallway too. So I got teleported out. But apparently, Halt was still chasing me, even though I was out of the hallway, so I died in the next room. Just great. Also, cool fact, this was only door 14, which is both a blessing and a curse, cause we just decided to restart. In this run, I was actually nervous because I wasn't sure what kind of trick was going to be pulled on me this time, so I was wary. Sadly, I made a mistake. I was worried about Halt doing the same thing again, so I deactivated the modifier Nosy so I don't end up taking damage from eyes by mistake, and replaced it with It Can Run Too, which will end up costing me the game. A bit of our strategy included me grabbing as many coins as I can in order to buy pick locks at Jeff's shop and hopefully the skeleton key, which caused us to take twice as long in most rooms, which is probably the reason why I mostly did one run a day. We got Halt again, and luckily, this time, I was the one who beat Halt first, so I didn't experience that weird bug again. During this run, there were often times where I would just be in a dark room spinning around while my friend finds the key, just to make sure I don't get hit by Screech because, of course, I couldn't hear his psst. We made it to the first Seek chase, and we both died at it. Though, once again, my death was absolute BS. You can clearly see that I made it through the door and that it shut behind me, yet I still got killed by him. We just ran it back, with no changes. Friend went AFK for a bit during part of it for some reason, but it didn't affect anything. We made it to Seek chase again. Luckily, I survived this time. Unfortunately, my friend did not. We were contemplating him reviving and decided he should go for it because we can get another one for free anyway. So I just had to survive the rush that was coming without audio. Simple, right? All I had to do was wait. I died. And not because I didn't go in. I couldn't go in. I can't really prove it here, but I promise I was spamming that button before Rush got to me, and it wouldn't let me go inside. You can hear me in this next clip exclaiming that I would have survived if the button worked. Then my friend died to Rush, and a couple seconds later due to not having a closet nearby. This is when I realized that this challenge may take longer than I expected.
Excuse me, English or Spanish?
English.
Whoever moves first is gay.
Baby, you got something in your nose.
There's no point. I would have survived. I don't know what happened. It just lagged and it
Just to make some things clear, some of these runs were done either days or weeks apart, so most of the time I just started a new run without any warm-up for a good while, and other times it would just be on the same day and I would be exhausted. This is a clip of me getting tired of doors and just playing a whole new random game. Run 5 was a bit different. I was on my own again. I was hoping I could get some randoms to play with, but no such luck. Though this time, I have good news, and bad news. Well, depends on how you look at it. I adjusted the audio so I can finally hear it, but now the recording doesn't have the audio. Well, you can hear me talking to myself the whole time, but there's no in-game audio actually audible in the recording. But I suppose it's fine. Doors music should be playing throughout this whole video anyway while I commentate. I made it past door 50 in this run, and I even managed to get 500 coins. The only problem was, there was a tough decision I had to make in Jeff's shop. I had a choice of the crucifix, the skeleton key, a flashlight, and lockpicks. I wanted a crucifix, but I also wanted to have lockpicks for door 100. And if I get lockpicks, that means I can still have the skeleton key for health. I decided I would rather have health over time than just a single save, so I went for a skeleton key and the lockpicks. After that, I took a brief stop at rooms just to admire it, and then sadly lost track of doors and got duped. It didn't kill me, but I didn't like being that low health. If I mess up on a Screech attack, I could die. If I get duped again, I will die. If I stare at eyes for more than about 2 to 3 seconds, I will die. Not a great percentage of health to be at. Luckily, the hospital was the room after next and I managed to heal up. Seek's chase was a bit after that, and I only survived by being able to go through the last fire with full health. Getting the skeleton key really paid off, but the game decided it still wanted to have more fun, so it placed Halt right after the next door. I managed to get through it without any trouble. I just hate how long it takes. Eventually, I got to the garden, then the greenhouse, and I was getting really hopeful about how this run was going so far. I actually believed I had a chance at beating it finally. I'm only on run 5. I even played some music just to calm me down and to keep me inspired to continue on. I went through the greenhouse very slowly, like unbelievably slow. I was taking no chances or risk. I had no light and the rain was loud. I wanted to make sure I survived through this ordeal and finally beat this challenge. I made it to door 100, and with lockpicks, there's nothing that would stop me now from beating this challenge. Not even Figure. I already had him figured out. That was until he decided to go rogue. This is the death that pissed me off most. I was so close, and Figure decided that he doesn't care that I made zero noise. He wants to chase me anyway into a random closet for no apparent reason. I had no reason to be chased and get killed, but nope, the game decides that I would definitely bother Figure and deserve to die. I gave up for a good while after that. Great news, guys. Remember that first run, the one we didn't get to see the ending to? Well, I found it. It was hidden among some other old videos, so let's see what happens. Well, so far it looks like I lagged and took damage to Screech. Well, that's what I say in the chat anyway, which is fair due to all the lag I was experiencing at the time. I must have been waiting while my last video processed. Then I seemed to get duped and put near death again. Then I reached the garden. Wait a minute. I swear, if I beat this challenge on the first run and didn't even know it, I'm gonna be considerably annoyed. Oh, never mind. I died to some other type of bug or glitch. I died to eyes while he wasn't even in my vision. This game hates me. We switched things up a bit. My friend was back again, and this time we replaced It Can Run 2 with Stop Right There, just because we wanted a bit more practice with A90 in order to eventually make the big grind to A1000. The run started smoothly, but the weirdest thing happened on door 5. While I was looting, Timothy did his jump scare but did 0 damage. I'm not exactly sure why that happened, but I was not going to forgive the game for taking like 2% of my health. Sadly, my friend died on door 15 because he was apparently raising his volume to hear better, and Rush decided to come at that exact time. We decided to restart the game because it was still early, though I regret that decision until this day. That was one of the easiest runs we've gotten so far. We didn't even get A90 once during that time, and Rush only appeared twice so far, and no other entity showed up. We should have taken advantage of it. Oh well. This run started off with A90 stopping us at door 5. I didn't take damage, but sadly my friend did. At that point, I knew he was cooked, and that this run would not go well. But we had to try anyway. Throughout the run he kept appearing, but luckily we slowly got better at controlling our reactions. I'm proud of this play here. We were in a room stuck with eyes, and Screech just made his sound, and I couldn't turn around to look at him without taking damage from eyes. So I had to open the door, then find Screech. After that play, I felt like a 2000 IQ genius. Mostly because I had to think of that plan in the seconds that it happened. But anyway, sadly, my friend died to Screech, because apparently it was in the walls so he couldn't see it. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but I'm just gonna have to take his word for it. I decided to continue on and see how far I can go, and eventually I stumbled across this room. There were so many dupes. The sad part was I died here, not because I didn't keep track of doors. I knew what the next number was next, I just opened the wrong door without thinking. Well, on to the next run. This run, we got A90 in just the first room, but unlike last time, we both did not take damage. This run went so slowly because I was hunting for coins in order to buy a skeleton key for the shop, and there was obviously less coins with the modifier El Goblino was here. My friend took damage from dupe at door 12 when I told him like 20 times that the next door was 13. Then we finally got through door 13 and guess who appeared? Nope, not A90, the one and only Ambushed. He didn't appear once, twice, not even 3 times, he appeared 4 times. The game was really trying to catch us lacking this run. Sadly, on door 28, my friend's internet cut out, so he was kicked from the game immediately. We had to end the run there. Even now, I'm getting annoyed by all these runs that are ending due to stuff out of my control. So I face-seeked down, and he told me that this wasn't the honored run. On to the next one. This next run was on a new day, and by myself. It was the same modifiers again, so nothing has changed because I was confident I could beat the game without changing these specific modifiers. The run went really well. I got through many doors and only took damage from Timothy. Then I died to something I can't really explain. I was in the room with the desk thing that usually guarantees an item, and while I was standing behind this desk thing waiting for Rush to come, I figured I was safe because this counts as hiding in plain sight. I was behind the desk, so there's no way Rush could actively trace a line from himself to me through the object. But apparently he can. I don't know if I did something wrong or if the game broke, but I almost threw something right then and there. But I decided to give the game the benefit of the doubt and started up a new game just to test what happened to me. Maybe I just saw too much of his face. Or maybe the desk object didn't actually cover all of my body, so therefore he at least saw a clip of my head, and that counted as him getting me. I started the next game with the modifiers that make me run faster. I wanted to test the desk again to see if it was just a problem with the desk object itself, or if it was something about seeing Rush's whole face. So I ran until I came across a room that had that desk object and waited for Rush to come. And guess what? I lived. Nothing happened. Fine. Maybe it was just me being able to see his whole face or something. So I kept going until eventually Rush came again, and I decided to hide beside this bed. This time, I saw all of Rush and still haven't died. I was so annoyed and frustrated with the game that I gave up on that day and ended it there. This run was just as slow and boring as most of the others. It took like 20 minutes to get to door 30 due to all the looting I was trying to do. I flew through Seek's chase and had some insane timing with A90. He decided to attack exactly when I decided to stop and stretch. I won't take this as forgiveness because he bullies me later, but it was just cool that it happened at that moment. I made it to door 50 and everything was normal up until the end of Figure's cutscene. He just stopped, face planting right into the bookshelf and wouldn't move. I wasn't sure if he was glitched or stuck or just trolling. I was very nervous about what may happen, but surprisingly, nothing happened. He just stuck there. Even after I opened the door, which usually triggers him to come towards it. I once again dapped up my boys in Jeff's shop, then bought the skeleton key and lockpick, continued on my way, checked out the rooms again, admired the glow in the twinkles, and kept going. Made it to the hospital, got the herb, so I can always heal up to max health, which is incredibly useful if I take damage from A90, considering he takes about 90% of health. I figured I was actually going to beat this run. All that stood in the way was the greenhouse. I got through another Seek chase and even halt, and finally found myself in the garden ready for the second to last challenge. And sadly, I died. And this time I have no one to blame except me. I panicked. I didn't even need to hide because I basically confirmed that Rush wasn't coming, but I was too scared of dying that I caused my own death. What a lesson in a big cliche. A90 finally managed to kill me, and it felt even worse because it was right at the end. Actually, I'll call this one run 10.5 because I didn't actually do a run this time. I decided to join these two randoms in super hard mode. I never played the mode before or really knew much of it, so I wanted to finally experience it with these randoms who apparently have done it before. It wasn't too bad. My only real issue was how dark it was sometimes, like I literally couldn't see anything at all. All the bananas on the floor were funny, but I figured they just made you slip, so I made sure to avoid them. Eventually, I came across a weird cross holy bomb thing on a desk and was asking the other two randoms if they wanted it. They completely ignored me, and so I picked it up, and then they left the game. They just left mid-match and left me to fend for myself. That was okay with me because I was running low on recording time anyway, so I decided to go on for a few more doors to see if there was anything else new that I should learn about before I ended it. Nothing surprising happened except my death. I threw the grenade to see what happened and tried to kill eyes with it. I died even with the grenade being behind another wall. But hey, it was a good laugh. Once again, nothing happened this run except for Figure getting glitched again. If someone knows why or how this happens, please tell me in the comments. Anyway, I got through everything and then died at door 66 because of my panic again. Rush was coming, so I decided to wait by a closet so that I could hide from him, and A90 appeared. I acted instinctively because I heard a sound, hid in the closet, and that got me killed. I'm getting really tired of doing this. On run 12, I was bored and tired of dying, so I decided to switch things up a bit. I put the modifiers injuries and roundabout instead of stop right there, so therefore there's no more A90, and I go slower if I take damage, and I'm guaranteed to get halt. That was fine with me because I know I can easily beat halt, and I was planning on getting herbs again anyway. The run started off okay, and sooner than I expected, I got halt on door 13, and Then I died. What happened was I forgot I had the modifier injuries on, and I had already taken damage before from Eyes and Timothy, so I was slowed down a little bit. This impacted Halt greatly because I tried walking backwards when Halt said to turn around, so I took a hit from him, and obviously that slowed me down even more. I tried to pop the vitamins in order to run faster, but sadly I wasn't quick enough. I replaced the recently added modifiers with Come Back Here and Rent Stew. I also removed El Goblino was here so I can pick up more coins and not spend so much time looting. The run went pretty smoothly. I stopped at the first Seek chase to capture a cool transition that I might use for a future video. Surprisingly, Seek was really slow during this chase. I don't know if he got stuck on something or if I somehow did the run flawlessly, but he was way behind. I made it to door 50 and once again Figure got stuck on the bookshelf. Confusing, but I still won't complain. I looked back a couple of times after I unlocked the door and moved on. Jeff's shop was different this time. Since I was able to loot more coins, I was able to get everything he was offering. Crucifix, the skeleton key, the lighter, and the vitamins. Though I couldn't buy the vitamins since I already had 3 in my inventory. I continued on my way and made it to the hospital where I got the herb again. And not too long after that, I stupidly lost the crucifix to Rush. I miscounted my doors, so I thought I was safe on the stairwell and that he would continue past. Turns out it was actually the next door, and so I had my crucifix out and Rush got crucified. If only I just hid like normal. At least I didn't die, but losing the crucifix felt just as bad at that moment. I was sure I needed it later if I got ambushed or at least a second chance against Finger. I continued on my way and made it past the garden and the greenhouse, and finally onto door 100. I was very nervous for this because usually I had lockpicks with me in order to run into the electrical room when the first cutscene happened. This time I had to run into a closet, which I haven't done before, in order to live. I waited a bit for the guiding light to activate, then pressed that lever and ran for the closet. I did the minigame and I just stayed in the closet. I was listening to see where Figure would go, but it didn't sound like he was moving. Then he makes me do the minigame again. I completed it and decided to just gun it for the main room. Turns out that was a bad idea, and I died to Figure once again. I didn't hear him move or turn around or anything. I don't know if he was just camping in that corner or if he was just silent due to a bug, but once again, I feel like I got scammed. Then there's also the fact that he was faster due to Come Back Here, so I decided to take it off, but sadly, that was the last run I did for a long while. Being so close to the end like that, and having it ripped away from me again was devastating. I went on a long break. Run 14 was unique. This time, I decided to play with my younger brother to help me beat this challenge. It all went pretty smoothly up until door 50. That's when it went downhill. You can't really see it on my screen, but on my brother's screen, Figure was just stuck on the desk in front of the closet I was in. The desk with the paper code. He would not move from there, so my brother had to make noise for him to get off the desk and chase him down. Eventually, we were able to escape. We entered Jeff's shop pretty proud of ourselves for a good first run, and I bought lockpicks, crucifix, and skeleton key. Then, the game started lagging. It started with me not being able to pick up the key from the ground. I didn't think much of it, I just thought the key was broken for me. Then we entered the next room and I couldn't open any drawers or pick up the money. Then, I couldn't see any of my items except for the crucifix. I couldn't even turn on my flashlight. And finally, I got teleported behind Jeff's shop with like 5% health left, for no apparent reason. This is the end of this run. I couldn't escape. There was no way to get from behind there. Once again, I was scammed, and I remember why I didn't finish the challenge before. Finally, I just told my brother to go on ahead and get Glitch, or Void, whatever he's called now, to teleport me. He can at least finish the run by himself if Glitch kills me. But then, we both had to leave the game because of personal circumstances, and that was the end of it. We started up our next run about a couple days later with an additional brother. This run was even worse than the others. Both of my brothers died too soon, one of them to Rush and the other to Seek. So I decided I might as well restart. I went to door 50 at least to get a good amount of knobs after spending some on the lockpicks and lighter. Didn't get much, but hey, not that bad. Guess what? This run was even worse than the last one. I died immediately. Why? Well, simply because of the common occurrence of falling through the floor. Don't you hate it when you step on the wrong ground and just fall through? Then Glitch just runs at you and immediately kills you. I love that. Man, I'm going through these runs very quickly now, which is good I suppose. I don't want to drag this video out any longer. It's already almost at 20 minutes. This run is half a run. I didn't even make it out the elevator before my game decided I don't have enough internet and must be kicked. Conveniently, right after I bought both of the items. I didn't even get my knobs back. What a fantastic game. Hey, pass me here. Well, scriptwriter me anyway. 7 is my lucky number. Run 17 has to be the one. I haven't even started the run yet, but I'm doing it today, like a week after the last one. I know this is going to be the one. There's no way I'm going to die from something stupid again, right? I am the honored one. Time to prove it to the game, because this challenge is ending here, whether I beat the game or not. So, farewells and GG's, and I hope this run goes good. This run started off pretty smoothly. I changed the modifiers a bit by adding itchy instead of nosy, so there's more Timothys instead of more eyes. This time I brought my two brothers back again, one to help me, the other just wanted to annoy me. I started off once again with buying the lockpicks and lighter. Lockpicks for door 100 and lighter for greenhouse. We made it through the first couple of doors without any issue, got attacked by Timothy a good couple of times, and finally everything went south. We got ambushed, literally and metaphorically. I didn't hear him until it was too late. My brothers were not so lucky. They couldn't even get to a closet in time. I didn't have a chance to warn them in time. I managed to survive, but I was hesitant on continuing. I was once again on my own, and it was only door 24. Then, I remember what I wrote in the script. This will be the run where I win, and I'm not going to end it just because I lost my backup. If I'm still standing, then I'll keep pushing. Eventually, I arrived at Seek's Chase with about half my health left, got through the chase pretty quickly, and moved on to the next set of rooms before door 50. Timothy decided he really didn't like my luck, and continues to harass me. At this point, I should mention that I was experiencing many lag spikes throughout this whole run, and let me just say, I was more afraid of the lag killing me than the entities. On door 41, eyes spawned, and I did look away, but even after that I still took damage due to the lag I was experiencing. Other times, I may freeze or get teleported back a couple of frames. This run is only getting worse. At this point, I was so low on health I gave up on trying to collect coins. I had just about enough for both the crucifix and the skeleton key, which is what I wanted. If I took about 4 to 5 more hits from Timothy, I would die, so I just went around listening for the jingle that the keys make instead of going through each drawer. A good couple of times I lost track of what door I was on, so I applied a new technique that I learned, which involved having to go up close against the wall next to the door and trying to look through. If I can't see open air, or if I just see another wall, then I know it's safe. If I see open air, or just this black square behind the door, then I know it's not. Just a little tip for you guys if you wanna, use it. Finally, I made it to door 50, and surprisingly enough, it went okay. Figure was acting up due to lag. He would sometimes get trapped in the corner by the next door or on this middle desk. Other times he would start freezing and teleporting. I was really worried he would end up teleporting into me and that this run would end, so I had to be extra slow and careful. Eventually, I got 9 books and the paper with the code and made my way through the door. Figure surprisingly got stuck again by the door and I was able to put the code in. Then, I had a mini heart attack. The door didn't open. It was unlocked, but wouldn't open. Typically, once the door was unlocked, Figure would come chasing. Luckily, that didn't happen, and the door finally opened, and I was free. Back at Jeff's shop, I looked at them all warily, swore at Jeff that he kidnapped me again, there would be hell to pay, and finally bought the crucifix and the skeleton key. I even gave Jeff tips, just so he wouldn't feel the need to screw me over. I spoke to El Goblino one last time, and, well, maybe that's why I died. Maybe I caught a glimpse of him somehow in that last run. Continued on my way, and the lag got worse. My brothers told me that even on their screen, I was teleporting around. and on my side you can see that it took me a while to exit a closet even when I'm trying to get out. That was terrifying. See, with the modifier rent do, hide attacks much faster. And we all know if you get kicked out by hide, you take damage. And then you can't go back into a closet for a good couple of seconds. I would not survive if I got kicked out. This time though, I was lucky, and nothing happened. But that luck didn't last long. I made it through these next couple of doors, with darkness and underground mazes and screeches, and finally made it to the hospital. I happily took some weed and brought my health back up to full. Now it was Seek's chase again. It started off with me somehow going backwards at first, but don't worry, I don't die yet. Like I said, Seek's chase is too easy, and I made it through with no other problems. And then I got halt. Imagine that, both ambush and halt in the same run. I didn't think that was possible. I always thought you can only get one or the other, and that it only happened once. Well, I did say my luck wasn't going to last. I took a deep breath and entered Halt's hallway. I applied my strategy again of just walking forward and walking backwards when Halt says to turn. And I made it out. So far, this game has thrown almost every obstacle at me, and I haven't even reached the greenhouse yet. I was only on door 83, but I knew I could make it. Just a couple more doors and I can face that warden ripoff one more time. Unless the warden came out later. I don't really know. I can't find the exact date the warden was released. I continued on my way, dealing with Rush a couple of times, and guess what? Once again, I got bad luck. What I thought was impossible, that couldn't happen more than once, happened. I got ambushed. I couldn't get out of the closet because it lagged. I got kicked out by Hyde. I couldn't pull out the crucifix, and then I died. That was the end. Door 87. Just 13 doors short from the end. All that pain and suffering was for nothing. And then I realized something. I didn't make it to door 90. I did not reach or pass the garden yet. I was close, but not quite. Door 90 and up prevents you from doing one thing, and that's reviving. And lucky me, I got a free revive from using the code. We're back in business. I lost the weed effect, but I still had the crucifix, so I still had one more chance before permanent death. On to the greenhouse. It was slow and brutal, so many screeches and so little light, but I've done this before, I know I can make it out, and this time, I don't have to worry about A90. As they say, slow and steady wins the race. I walked through each door carefully, stopping in every room just to wait and listen for Rush. 91, 92, barely avoided Rush, 93, 94, Rush, 95, snared, 96, 97, 98, 99, and finally, 100. The final boss, the final room, the final door. I immediately unlocked the electrical room so I could hide in it and wasted no time before switching the lever. I ran straight into the electrical room and began to do the final puzzle. I checked downstairs first and admired the riff. I went upstairs and grabbed one of the boxes and made my way to the main floor. Waited in one of the storage rooms for guiding light and finally began to make progress. I collected a couple more inside the room, waited for Figure to pass onto the other side, collected 2 more on my way to the back side, stayed in that corner room for a bit to wait for Figure to make a pass. And guess what? The game was finally nice. I was finally lucky. Figure was stuck. I couldn't hear him make a single sound and he never passed by. No footsteps, no growling, absolute silence from him. Even on my brother's screen, they couldn't see or hear him, and I knew now it was my moment to collect the rest of the electrical boxes and keep going. I popped the vitamins and sprinted with the crucifix in hand to the electrical room. I lit Figure on fire and began the next puzzle. At this point, it's settled. I've won. I did it. It was finally over. Sure, it may have taken a revive, but I could care less. I was robbed again and again and again, but this time, I made sure I didn't get robbed. I beat the game, and I beat the challenge. This is my moment. Let this serve as an inspiration to those who are also doing similar challenges. You can do it. you can win. It may take many tries, but practice makes perfect, and in the end, the sigh of relief and the feeling of victory will make it worth it. You can finally say you're done. You can finally be free. Well, that is until you set your next challenge. But for now, we get to enjoy life. Congratulate yourself, you struggled, you lost, but you also persevered, and in the end, you're the one who won. As famously quoted, the boss has to beat you many times, but you only have to win once. To be continued.